The wind rushed in and rushed out with our dignity, purpose and pride, and identified our black workers as worthless. They are a work of art, and look at us now. Between 1948 and 73, the NHS was occupied by many workers from the West Indies. The name Windrush derives from the Empire Windrush ship HMT, and funny how the scandal really came to life many years on in 2017. Our labourers complied with the regulation to obtain a citizenship and be part of the labour force who worked to make an honest living with no obligation. Many who paid taxes on time and had no running with shadow markets or legislation now were victims of this reputable injustice with no compensation. They earned honest money and took on British values, expecting to be part of a mutual exchange. But I guess we got the wrong end of interpretation of the phrase being part of a commonwealth. Deported, detained, denied rights of living, having to prove detailed accounts of an honest life. Many families were billing Great Britain deeply flawed, under-regulated immigration system. Newspapers branded headline scandals of our men and women. Now tell me again how we're meant to claim Black Britain. Imagine the irony, the year 2012, many remember the iconic Olympic Commonwealth. In the same year, the UK government destroyed thousands of documentation of our Black Commonwealth so they could bleed us dry and see us not as eligible of obtaining some of that Commonwealth. Our community branded as illegal immigrants, threats on billboard boards screaming, face arrest or go home, yet being born and raised in a place we call home, only needing us for our loyalty, hard work and strong bones, keeping us distracted from the truth. See now how you reprogrammed your tone, destroying evidence and landing cards, proving the right to remain, suppressing up so far down it's inhumane, ultimately making the UK unlivable for the undocumented migrants, pushing them right to the outside, then framed, creating an impossible burden on our Black Britons, calling us to make us feel like we're worthless as our 2 pence was never going to amount to no change, working for the system that never worked in our favour, losing access to housing and welfare in exchange for our labour. We had ourselves self-sufficient and supported. We didn't ask for white saviours. We simply lived with truth and trusted our neighbours. We trusted in the parliament. We're at the crux of our destroying our papers. We don't accept your tip box backtrack apologies. You've officially put our governmental statements. We now demand change in your immigration legislation. We demand changing attitudes to policies that don't support nor allude to our status. We demand justice, not feeble head nods and further deliberation. We demand long overdue justice for those that have gone, that are here and are still part of the incrimination. We demand justice, honourable, reputable, defiant justice for the Windrush generation. See, disparity and acceptance rates for high-profile jobs within this state, the BAME community members disgracefully turned away in greater numbers than whites. So this is why we need to fight. Despite being OLIVE qualified at the best of time, unconscious bias termed implicit bias overtly describes the stereotypes of social groups who unlawfully strike as we invite, in whites, the ignorance to creep in, making decisions that directly affect us, our voice, our choice, or within negative stereotypes, the members clubs we don't sit within. We stand out and not institutionally conform to fit in. We only get airtime if the time spared on air fits the skin, gravitating unconsciously to people who are like them, recruiting in their own image, their values only celebrated, their cultures much appreciated. Few Black leaders in a white world, top heavy white, bottom heavy Black, but the weight remains unequal. Is this defined as representative? We need to acknowledge systemic racism, dismantle and change our world, because it's been looking like a pageant we're running for and being crowned every year as misrepresentative. So this is why I'm educating the up and coming, molding the next generation to embrace the greatest version to who they are becoming. Teacher of business, French and economics, that's a fraction of my job, like creating leaders out of my class and seeing them strive for the grand heights, seeing the mini kings and queens finding their voice and feet. I teach them, mentor, prepare my lessons, then repeat. So you see, all my kids are golden. So the treasure of leadership, I know they already reap. The conversations about life, the what's next next why nots gives me a reason to be glued up on the have-beens and have-nots. Sharing your books of inspiration that your kids can then quote gives me so much different meaning when I say listen and take notes. Helping to mold a young person's future self is an honour. What you teach gives them a better view of tomorrow. Ofsted inspections miss all those perceptions of the kids who learn through direction, who learn through the realness of teachers who let them be valued, who never be judged by complexion. COVID has stopped my physical class, but cannot stop me ever from teaching these lessons. So I guess I'm here now with an update. The NHS claps used to happen on a Thursday. The rainbows on windows, the furloughs. What is happening, the government doesn't really know. The government's failure, abysmal. Resources displaced up in the system. This pandemic has proven to be the worst ever seen. The methods to intervene has left us with little clarity. Greater divine social disparity. Too many lives are lost with no grief. Too many went to work and left in white sheets. Now we're urging those who need to work to risk their life for blatant unconcern. Bottom of the labour food chain, your turn. Governmental mistakes we don't learn. Adequate safe procedures take time. Economic growth have failed to save lives. Fiscal policy overspend and rewind with an unclear aim. Unprecedented times. You fucked up, must do more to get right. New rules then backtrack at the same time. We speak up, we read in between lines. You speak up, impose us with these fines. You want us to stay in and comply with no trust and don't even ask why. Why can't you produce decent guidelines? We're locked down and let down. That's time. Thank you.